Welcome, gentlemen. Once again, another discussion. And this time, our focus of discussion is a country which in India we love to hate and hate to love. Mediterranean is the region where power equilibrium changes the entire political approach. It is one of the most important region which is setting the power balance. Mediterranean region will go important changes soon after the results of elections are declared. For right or for wrong, if present leadership changes, I am sure its political repercussions would be felt far and wide. Why Turkey is going for second round of election? What are the expected outcome of these elections and how this is going to impact regional geopolitics? For this discussion, we have with us Professor John Nomikos, and I am sure our viewers remember him because he has in past had many discussions with us. But still, I always feel very privileged and happy to introduce him to our viewers. Mr. John M. Nomikos is PhD, and he is founder and director of the Research Institute for European and American Studies, in short, which is called RIEAS, since 2006. He is also the editor-in-chief of the Journal of European and American Intelligence Studies. Besides his work with RIEAS, John is an assistant professor at the Webster University Athens Campus, where he teaches international security, conducts professional seminars on national security and intelligence studies, and terrorism in world politics, policies, and practices. I am so happy to once again in discussion with you, Professor Nomikos, and let's start the discussion with the reasons for the second round of election and expected outcomes.
Thank you very much, Captain, for allowing me and give me the opportunity to be with your distinguished audience in India, which is always a pleasure for me to share my knowledge. Now, today's topic is about Turkish election, far-reaching implication in Mediterranean region. Well, Mr. Erdogan on May 14 was very close to become president on the first week. However, he did not pass the 50%, what was necessary, so he has to go and then another round, which is going to be in May 28. And of course, Mr. Erdogan is going to be president of the Republic of Turkey for the sixth time. So he's in power more than 20 years. Well, let me tell you that 2 weeks ago, I was participating in an academic conference organized by the Azerbaijan Diplomatic Academy and in Baku. And I had the opportunity to meet people from the Eurasian region, especially like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, and all this area. And when I talked to these people before the election, they were not really surprised that Mr. Erdogan will become president again, comparing with the European media that they had a lot of doubt that Mr. Erdogan might lose the election and the opposition, a leader will win. So what I found out that Mr. Erdogan is a strong leader inside Turkey, even though the earthquake and many domestic problems like economy, which is really the real the real threat now for the Turkish people, because lira is really collapsing. And when I visited Turkey before going to Azerbaijan, I saw that $1 is almost 20 liras. Even though the bad development of the Turkish lira, this did not stop Mr. Erdogan to receive almost on the first election 49%. And on the second election, of course, he's going to pass 50%. Now, how come, the Eurasian state did not really surprise? They expect Mr. Erdogan to win, and the Western media really did not make any kind of a reliable, estimate on what's going on. Well, I find out that Mr. Erdogan has done a lot of, a reform related, to the Islamic agenda. So, in Istanbul, Ankara, Izmir, near to the Eastern Mediterranean, that he did not receive a lot of support. But when you go to Erzurum, Iconio, or Fun, some other cities in Anatolia, he received a large number of people there. And most of the people who vote for him, even though their economic situation was really bad, they vote for him and looking at him as a father, receiving some kind of a, religious recognition, or anything related to Islam. So I think the people who were really deep in Islam vote for him, regardless of the economic situation. That's something that most of the Western countries could not really understand. Because for us in the Western, Captain, we see if economy is okay, and some other things are okay, the human rights, so on, then this is something that we vote for him. But in Anatolia, and especially in Turkey, it's quite different. People vote for him, they see as a reliable, leader, and he gave a lot of prophecies, and he said that the economy would not be an obstacle for him to win, even though the majority of the Turks suffer. And as Mr. Erdogan said, Turkish economy received a lot of assistance from the Gulf state, including primarily also Qatar. Now, what does it mean now for the Eastern Mediterranean? I think Mr. Erdogan re-election after 28th of May might give more flexibility for him, to enhance, to support his independent foreign and security policy. He would probably say Turkey is a regional power, and we are not have to compromise or to be under, the umbrella of the Westerns. Of the Western countries, we are independent, we are a strong country, and we have to deal, and face United States the same as Russia, the same as China, with same everybody else. He will try, number one, to make an association of the countries that they are related to the Turkish culture, especially in Eurasia, something like the Turkish Association, which is have a lot of characteristics. He will be a tough leader related to the NATO or the United States or into Canada, and he will say to them, "Listen, you see, I have the legitimacy of the people. I'm the sixth time president. People trust me. Turkey is a regional power, and I can have my own independent policy, my own identity in the region." Of course, now he could say that if you don't satisfy, my foreign policy interests, I could turn to other countries, as I did in the past, towards Russia, towards China, and USA would probably, or other states like in the Gulf state or in the Middle East, would see him as a more, could I say the word aggressive, could I say the word, more confident on what he's going to do. And now I come to the point that he will ask to participate on the East Mediterranean, forum as an observer possibly, or he would demand, not ask, but now he will demand to share exclusive economic zone with Greece, and he will, try to put as much pressure as they can to the surrounding and neighbor countries with Turkey. And of course, another thing, he will try to now to have more pressure, Captain, on the Balkan state, especially in North Macedonia, especially in Kosovo, and especially in Albania. So his foreign policy now will be more aggressive. And now I come to the point that India is a strategic partner, for the East Mediterranean countries, including Greece. And India now is number one in population and the fifth stronger economy in the world, and it's going up. Therefore, India now has to realize that the re-election of Mr. Erdogan is an opportunity for New Delhi and the Prime Minister Modi to be more active in the Eastern Mediterranean and to have more presence of the Indian armed forces, all right, in the Eastern Mediterranean. And we need to see India all over the places in Europe, because India right now is a more than we can imagine and counterbalance, to the
Yeah,
stability.
Doctor, here, uh, I will touch this point again, how this re-election is going to impact India. But if I ask you to Dr. John Nomikos whether you prefer Tayyip or you prefer Kemal, who would be your personal favorite and for what reason?
Well, this is a quite interesting discussion, Captain. The point is that right now, Turkey, because the confidence that Mr. Erdogan receive, he will make him not to be so peaceful, but he will say to the Western leader that, look, I'm here, and you cannot ignore me. And Turkey is a member of NATO, all right? We belong to the Western club, but now is the time for us, because I have the support of the Turkish people for the sixth time, to decide my own way. And this way, is coming with the blessing of the God. So God now interact in Turkish policy. And of course, the Russian Federation is very happy that Mr. Erdogan is re-elected again, as well as China. China right now see that Erdogan is on the game again. And the Pakistan, of course, even though they have so many problems domestically because of Mr. Khan, they welcome very well the re-election of Mr. Erdogan, and the state of Qatar was was extremely happy to see another re-election. Now, uh, would like to see, Captain, in October 2023, how the United States, all right, under Biden administration, will react to the demand, not to the wish, to the demands of Turkey related of make a division of the Aegean and Eastern Mediterranean. I do believe that Greece is going to have, a lot of, demand from Turkey to find a solution on exclusive economic zone. And as you realize, thank God, at least Greece, we had an election in 21st of May, and we have another election on the 25th of June. That means we are going to have a government, a stable government. We're not going to be in instability. And the prime minister, whatever prime minister in Greece, and Erdogan will have to sit and discuss how they are going to face all the security challenges in the Eastern Mediterranean. And of course, the United States will be involved with that. Egypt will be involved. Israel, of course, there, and Cyprus will be involved. So you realize that the situation here is going to be extremely interesting for the development started in September, October 2023 after the summertime. And we do realize here in Greece also that India has an election in 2024. So for us, right now in Greece and the Eastern Mediterranean countries, is an emergency. It's not a wish. Is an emergency to speed up the collaboration with India. All right.
Now, point is that latest version of Tayyip Erdogan is not drastically different than what it was pre-election. So he has not given any indication of his different approach. His policies and practices will remain same. Even at the verge of election, second round, his approaches, his policies, his actions were nowhere different than what these were before the election. After 2 days, we'll get to know who comes out, and all indications are in favor of Erdogan. But I am in India very consciously aware that India did what humanity demanded at the time, where uh, help was required, no obligations, and no taking claims of that. Anyone in India's position would have done same humanitarian actions. But 3 days back, Turkey absented from a very important meeting of G20. So in India, we are not very upbeat and optimistic about his re-election. What are his perceived changes in his policies and practices, which finds favor in Mediterranean region, so far as your studies are concerned?
Well, Captain, as you quite correctly stated in your comment, for us now, even though, of course, the Turkish population will elect Mr. Erdogan again, we see now that Turkey might try to be more, how can I say, more presentedly show its teeth and say to everyone, you cannot really ignore me, I'm here. So you have to take me seriously because now we are, have the opportunity to be a regional power with the support of the, Islam, with the Arab state. And of course, Mr. Erdogan will try now to play a multipolar, game with everybody, all right, putting the Turkish interest first, and not to comply or compromise the Turkish foreign and domestic policy with no one. He will treat Washington D.C., Moscow, and the PNG the same way. I will say I put my Turkish interest first, and everybody else second or third. And he might say, even though I'm a member of NATO, I'm not going to leave NATO, but I will try to be there and just maybe have NATO work for me as I wish. So you can see that right now Turkey might be really, how can I say, a manipulator manipulate many countries and many interests, especially in two areas. In Eurasia, Turkey now is going to move toward to Anatolia. And when the reason that I decided to go to Azerbaijan, because I want to see the psychology of the state there. And when I met people and diplomats from the Eurasian countries, all the way from Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, I did realize something that I didn't know when I was living in Europe, that the people there see Turkey in a different way that we see it in Europe or in the United States and Canada. They are very close to them and they have a very strong collaboration and they see Mr. Erdogan in a different way. So they said to me that Turkey belongs to us. Turkey belongs to Anatolia. It's a part of us. And then when I met some people from Africa, they said to me that Turkey is going to have two main interests road in the foreign policy after Mr. Erdogan wins. He is going to focus and concentrate heavily on Eurasia and Africa. So don't be surprised if you see Turkey penetration and economic penetration and security training, the armed forces in many African states. Turkey will be very much involved in African states, not only in Libya or in Algeria and in North Africa. He will be involved in many African states, not only economically, but also militarily by offering training to the armed forces there, and of course promote Turkish interest in Africa. So Eurasian and African are going to be the two major pillars of the Turkish foreign policy in the world. Of course, there, don't be surprised if you see, Turkish, Russian, and to some extent, Chinese, collaborate in different projects. Like in Sudan, Russians is very powerful, but in other countries like Rwanda, like Somalia, and some other countries like Chad, Turkish now, Mr. Erdogan's Turkish policy towards Africa is going to be the next decade, and Turkish, foundation, he is going to establish the so-called Turkish Association of the countries in Eurasia that have a lot of characteristics with them. So he will have a lot of influence culturally, economically, and security in Eurasia, and then, turn right and move to Africa. And this is the two regions that everybody would like to see. One good thing, when I was in Baku, and I like to share with your audience, I was quite surprised to see many Americans participate in this academic conference, that organized by the Azerbaijan, diplomatic academy. That was very good surprise. And I was really surprised when I did not see any Chinese participate in this conference. Of course, I would expect, I would be very happy if I could see some Indian scholars to be there. They were not. However, there were some scholars from Pakistan. All right. So as you could see, Mr. Erdogan before the election and when he is going to re-elect it, he has an agenda. And his agenda right now is ready to be implemented. The point is, we ask ourselves, Captain, allow me. The point is, we have an idea what Turkey is going to do. Do we know in Western countries, in the Eastern Mediterranean, in the United States, in the Biden administration, what we need to do? We, do have an idea how to face Turkey after 28th of May? Do we know what we want from Turkey? We want Turkey to be independent and to be a regional power. We like Turkey to be a member of the Western, club. We want Turkey to be a reliable member of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization because Turkey has to select. Turkey has to select its road. When I was in in Eurasia, the Eurasia people that I talked there, the Eurasia diplomat, they said to me very clear that Turkey belongs to Anatolia, that Turkey is going to turn it to Anatolia. Me as a Westerners coming from Greece and the Eastern Mediterranean, I told them, yes, but he's a member of NATO. I said, this is a different story. But Turkey belongs to Anatolia, is a part of our brotherhood. It's clear. I mean, uh, to me, it was really a surprise. But then I started to realize that Turkey is stronger.
Yes,
Erdogan is stronger
Professor,
than I can imagine.
it is surprising to me also because if you remember, we had discussion, Turkey specific discussion in past also, and that time I could feel that the regional players there were with a bit of resentment towards Turkey's activities, and especially when Cyprus was focus of discussion, and Turkey's activities were found to be somehow very discouraging and unwanted. Now, I feel that you are suggesting that most of the regional players are very happy with the election winning of Erdogan, and also that they feel that Turkey should not only more actively play its role and that to regional leadership role, but also it is suggested that India should also engage with Turkey. Is
Yes.
that correct understanding at my end?
Yes. Well, as you can see, as you said it quite correctly, Captain, that Turkey and is getting involved also not only with Pakistan, with India. The point is how would be the domestic development in Pakistan right now, as you can see with all the problem. You know better than me. But the point is any way that the Turkey is a country that really turn its policy toward Anatolia will provide more stability in the region. Because I do believe that Turkey having a good collaboration with Pakistan for many years, for many reasons, would not really stop to escalate the situation in Kashmir and Jammu there. So they need to find a way to Turkey to stop, penetrate in the Indian affairs, especially in Kashmir. I don't know how Turkey would be very effective to provide any kind of assistance to Pakistan when they have so many domestic problems, inside in the political arena. But the one thing that I know that Turkey will extend, its influence more on the Eurasian state, and they might use the Eurasian influence by establishing this Turkish association, by show to the rest of the world that look, here I have partners in Eurasia, and Eurasia is rich of oil and natural resources. And then I turn my way to Africa, and in Africa I also have partners, and Africa is very rich of natural resources and mineral. So Turkey right now is looking, to improve its foreign policy. The other things the captain allow me to say really scare me is how he's going to, boost the Turkish economy, because the Turkish economy right now is really nothing good. I remember I was in Istanbul and I exchanged some money from euro to Turkish lira, and it was really unbelievable. One lira, 1 euro, 20 liras. I mean, the Turkish lira is really, really bad. So economically, uh, Turkish economy is not good. I don't want to use the word collapsing, but it's not good. So how you are going to keep Turkey um, emerging in foreign policy in Eurasia and Africa, and at the other time, to have the majority of the Turkish people live under poverty. That's something it's quite difficult for me to explain. Unless Turkey is having other sources that is not transparent or we cannot see it on the agenda. So Mr. Erdogan would probably need to boost the economy and to provide more opportunities to the people. But let me tell you something. Being in Eurasia and spent a few days there, I feel that Mr. Erdogan has many friends that they would like to help him, at least economically, with different projects. Number one country is, of course, China. China is going to invest in Turkey and Eurasia because of many economic projects. And Mr. Putin is very happy to have Mr. Erdogan on his presidency. The biggest enigma is how the United States is going to persuade Mr. Erdogan to, to turn to the Western club and to be a reliable partner. This is something that I cannot reply to this question. I don't know. I want to see, Captain, how the situation is going to be in October and November, where Mr. Erdogan implements his security, economic, cultural, and the economic agenda. But one thing that we have to understand in the Eastern Mediterranean, that culture is extremely powerful in Eurasia. You know, the Turkish culture and many of the countries in the Eurasia have a lot of characteristics. I was very happy. I mean, I was not happy to understand that. And it was difficult for me to realize that from Greece or from another country. It's difficult. The Europeans, they need to go there. They need to go to see what Turkey is. They need to go to the Eurasian countries to talk to the people there in Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and to tell them how they see Turkey. They don't see Turkey as we see it in the Western. It's a different way. And now I made a little bit, like a little comment, and I said to these people, how you see India in Azerbaijan? And they said to me, India is a powerful country. They said to me, India is coming in the 21st century. And I said to him, how you see Eurasia and you see Africa and you don't see India? Because India right now is moving strongly, and every year its economy is going to go up. And remember what they told me, most of the people that I talked there. India is here to stay, and we cannot ignore them. However, we need to find a way to approach India, even though nobody was participating from India in the conference, but only two Pakistani. And I was the only Greek scholar who participated for the first time in this diplomatic academy in the International Geopolitical and Economic Conference. No one from Greece has even participated in the academy from Azerbaijan. And the reason that I went over there is to see how they approach Eastern Mediterranean and how they approach, the the relationship between Turkish, Eurasian, China, Russia, and the United States. It was an unbelievable experience for me to be there 1 week and to understand the balances, between China, Russia, United States, India. India, even though some of these countries collaborate or do not have a strong collaboration, India is a player. And I said to them that India is going to be in the Eastern Mediterranean, all right, as a stable factor, of course, and India will have its armed forces, has already done it with Cyprus, Greece, and India is a democratic, a stable country for the Eastern Mediterranean. Now, after my trip in Eurasia, I want to I want to encourage the India decision maker, Prime Minister Modi, and everyone, the Defense Ministry and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, just to see the re-election of Mr. Erdogan with a different eye, with a different option, because he's going to be strong in Eurasia and Africa, and this is the opportunity that India must replace the Chinese, interest in Eastern Mediterranean. So India has no option. They must come to Europe. They must come to the Eastern Mediterranean, and they must be more involved globally, especially Eastern Mediterranean, Europe, and Africa.
In fact, Professor, this is what everyone thinks in India also. And Indian increased presence in East Mediterranean is witnessed last year itself. And today it is very pleasant surprise that two different uh, poles apart are joining together in welcoming Erdogan's re-election, which is a foregone conclusion. In 2 days' time, it will be officially declared that NATO is welcoming his re-election. USA is very happy with the prospects of his coming back again, and equally happy is Vladimir Putin. So coming back of Erdogan is pleasing no ends to many countries, but sometimes a country's stands are compelled by internal politics. You
Yes,
mentioned about internal politics in Pakistan. Certain leadership in Pakistan were forced to take a stand in favor of freeing Jammu and Kashmir. And it was said that they were compelled by internal politics. Turkey is also blamed similarly because Turkey has committed his stand and friendship towards particular country. That's why they would not come to Kashmir for whatever reason, even when meeting is so important as G20 meeting. Similarly, India is also having internal politics which compelling leadership to take decisions. So why India is not discounted to have traditional stand and a few compulsions? Anyway, I am sure global politics do not focus on such a micro level of internal dynamics. But you are very correct that India needs to take very active and very, very profound steps and must be present, and that presence must be felt. So, in that case, last discussion you focused about Egypt. Egypt,
Egypt, yeah, Egypt is a country right now quite
Egypt,
interesting. Yes,
right? But Egypt also very, very, I would say, disappointingly
yes,
failed our expectation. Positive signs and signals were sent to Egypt,
yes,
but Egypt also absented. So
yes,
it cannot be unilateral. So India would make positive approaches, whether it is Turkey, whether it is Egypt, whether it is any other country, which have been traditionally not exactly enemy, but they have not done anything favoring India. In world politics, no one gives favor. But then last discussion, if you remember, I mentioned that India did no harm to Turkey. Traditionally, politically, conventionally, economically, whichever way you look at, India never did any harm to Turkey. but Turkey is having some
Yes,
grouse.
yes,
I don't know. So to that extent, we are not going to go out of our way to please Turkey. That is not going to happen. In fact, no, these are not the signs of strong nations, right? Am
yes,
I correct in saying?
absolutely.
So positive signals, positive steps are being taken, will be taken in future also, and I feel very happy and proud when you say that you see India's increased presence and leadership position. So to summarize the discussion, I would like to I would like you to say uh, in two three sentences what Turkey must do after this election and what Mediterranean region offers as an opportunity for India or for that matter any other country to bring more positivity and more power equilibrium.
Yes. Captain, I have a clear mind. After election of Mr. Erdogan in Sunday, Mr. Erdogan will ask, Cyprus, Greece to sit on the table and to discuss, the exclusive economic zone and how Turkey could have access to the natural resources in the Eastern Mediterranean. And of course, this is going to be number one priority for Mr. Erdogan. Number two, Egypt right now is just wait and see, as well as Israel wait to see how the situation this is going to be implemented. And number three, which is I always and strongly loudly say that for the last year, that India presence in the Eastern Mediterranean is a must. But I do want to see India to be an observer, or even better, a full member of the Eastern Mediterranean Forum, which right now is supported by many countries in Eastern Mediterranean, including Greece and Cyprus. And the United States is supporting the Eastern Mediterranean, Italy, France, and so many countries. So at least for Indian agenda to be in the Eastern Mediterranean and be involved also in the energy sector as well and the defense sector could be the best balance, for us and for the best stability in a region. No one, I see that in Eurasia, no one cannot ignore India. And let me tell you something. Many diplomats that I talk, they wanted to guess or they wanted to make some estimation how India is going to move in the next decade. Be neutral, be independent, have a turn to some other countries, or be close to the United States. So they look India right now as priority number one because they do believe that is a country could provide a new push to the geopolitical and economic environment, including East Macedonia. And just give me 1 second, 1 minute, Captain, to say something. Well, domestically, Pakistan right now is really deteriorating, and I would not be surprised if I see Turkey to some extent approaching India because right now the Pakistan domestic security is very fragile and the Americans are watching Pakistan, but they do believe that India could provide stability in the region. Now, if Pakistan and India are going to stop, create escalation in Kashmir, that's a different option, which I think they have their own policy. But the re-election of Mr. Erdogan in Turkey after next Sunday makes India a stronger a more important play, player in the geopolitical chess in the region. It gives maybe what I'm saying to you, and I want to conclude with that. Maybe what I saw is a little bit oxymoron, but Erdogan re-election makes India more important in the geopolitical chess than everybody else in the area. This is my personal opinion from what I have seen and talk and traveling in Karabakh in so many areas. You know, India right now must take initiative to be in the Eastern Mediterranean, provide stability, be strong player in Europe, and the United States will take India much serious and in significant way that it used to be in the past. So India becomes stronger in geopolitical and geoeconomic chess after the re-election of Mr. Erdogan. So Greeks, Cyprus, we expect India to be our partners and to come with us for a long time because it's a democratic country, all right, it's a strong country, the fifth stronger economy, and the country with a larger population. So India is not really a regional power, but it's becoming eventually a superpower.
Thank you very much. In fact, today's newspaper headlines were that India is the emerging third superpower. So, thank you very much, Dr. Nomikos, for sparing your time, giving your valuable ideas and the logics and facts. And I always, feel immensely happy and privileged to have discussion with you, and I'm looking forward to your visit
To India.
Delhi. I'm
To,
sure it will finalize and maybe June end, because May is still hot and you have not finalized any dates yet. But then, whenever it is finalized, I will be personally happy to host you in Delhi, and I will invite you again for another discussion at some other time. And I request members now to subscribe to our channel if you have not already done, and get advance information of our forthcoming discussion. That will be possible only when you subscribe to our channel. And like today's discussion, we have been holding discussions regularly on geopolitics, strategic affairs, and also uh, on varied other subjects. So kindly subscribe to our channel, and wherever you are, whatever you do, remain happy, remain safe, remain secure. Thank you very much. God bless you.